Hello and welcome everyone to the third Data Shift webinar. Today we're going to talk about Power BI, one of my favorite tools, and the enhancements Copilot can bring to the tool. But first of all, let me introduce my colleague Jasper. Jasper, how are you?
I'm doing good, Nico. And you?
Also very good.
Okay.
Looking forward to today and to what you have prepared. But maybe first of all, introduce yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah. So my name is Jasper Tamino. I've been working now for almost 12 years in especially Microsoft BI tools and environments. And since 2015, when Power BI was introduced, I'm basically also following Power BI, and that's also what I'm doing at DataShift. At DataShift, I'm working as one of the Power BI experts, and hopefully today I can get you more familiar with Power BI and Copilot, how these two tools can work together.
All right, true Power BI expert. Not an expert myself. I played around with the tool from time to time. I'm more on the business side of the equation, making sure that whenever reports are built, that they're used properly, that the data is interpreted correctly, and so that the data visualized in reports is being used to enhance business decision making, an intriguing part, in my opinion. So briefly, what do we have planned today for you? Jasper prepared a few exercises. We're gonna go over them and explain to you how Copilot enhances Power BI. After that, we'll have a short little chat to give our honest opinion about these enhancements. And then at the end, there's a Q&A, of course. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask them at the end of the webinar. But maybe let's just dive in straight ahead. First exercise that you have prepared, it's about DAX, D-A-X, language used within Power BI. Played around with it myself. It can get a little bit complicated, right?
Definitely. DAX is basically, it seems to be a very easy language if you do it for the first time, because DAX is very similar to what you know from Excel. But you can also go really complicated into DAX, like you can do year-to-dates, you can compare periods over another period and these kind of things. But if you want to do that, it's becoming really complicated. And that's the moment where many people are losing it in DAX. And for that reason, nowadays, Copilot can assist you in writing your own DAX statements. And that's what I'm going to show you.
Cool. Looking forward. Let's go to the first exercise.
All right.
You here
is what we're seeing on my screen now is a fictive example of a company named the Milk and Soda Factory. And the Milk and Soda Factory, they're basically selling beverages. So the data set is transactional data generated from a point of sale system. And the Milk and Soda Factory, they have a few shops and they're selling their beverages to customers.
Okay, cool. And so what can Copilot bring to the table here?
Yes, good question. So Copilot, what I'm going to show you in this first exercise is since a few weeks or months, you have nowadays on the left the DAX query view. If I click on the DAX query view, basically I can write my own DAX statement. I don't know if people in this call are familiar with SQL. SQL is a database language that I can also use to query my data, select data from a table. And this is basically kind of the same what you can do in this screen, but with DAX. Instead of select in DAX, you would use evaluate, and then you have to write your own statements to be able to select your data. Of course, in this exercise, I'm not that skilled in DAX, so I'm going to trust on Copilot. So I'm going to ask Copilot a question so that Copilot can basically query my data. So I push on this button on the left here. I can also push this button here. As you can see, Copilot is still in preview. So preview means from Microsoft, it's kind of a disclaimer, which is telling you that it's, I can say, kind of a beta release.
Yeah.
So
it's working, but it might have a few bugs here and there.
Yes, indeed. So it can still give you some surprises. I mean, surprises in a way that maybe still not working as expected.
Let's hope that doesn't happen now.
Indeed. But let me ask a question to Copilot about my dataset. I'm going to ask, show me the quantity of sold products. And of course, I want to see it per product. And now Copilot will think about it. And while waiting, I can also already mention, if you want to use Copilot in Power BI, you need to make sure that you have the right licenses. So what does it mean? You need to have nowadays at least a P1 license or an F64 license. And then you need to make sure that one of your workspaces is in this capacity.
Okay.
So
what do we got here?
Yeah, so what has been generated is, you can see it on the left, it's a text statement, which is basically telling you evaluate. It's like the select statement. And then it's going to select the product name and the measure, like how many beverages has been sold. Okay. I'm going to tell Copilot I want to keep it. And if I run the statement, I can see, okay, these are my products and the quantity of sold products next to it. But imagine, okay, I'm not yet that happy with this result. I want to include another column. What I can do, I can select this statement, and I'm going to ask Copilot again. Okay, Copilot, include me the product category as well. So I'm going to execute this query. Again, Copilot will think about it. So personally, I also hope this will improve in the future as well. But as you can see, now it's basically giving you, on the left, you can see my old query. And on the right, you can see now, okay, it's also including the product category. So you can also see the difference between the first statement and the second statement. You can see which changes Copilot is going to apply. So you can decide to discard it, or I can decide to keep it. Okay. Of course, I want to keep it. That's why we are doing this exercise. And you can see, now I have my new query. Again, I can run it. And you can see on the bottom, it is also including now my product category.
All right. Very cool to see. Do you have something more planned for us?
Yes, if I go to, let's say, to this same measure, the beverage quantity total, if I go to the model view, you see I have my measure over here selected. What we can do nowadays as well is we can generate a description for this measure by Copilot. So if I click this one, Copilot will try to understand what this measure is doing, and it will return you like a natural description. That's really nice, because this will basically allowing you to document your model in a very convenient way. Like Copilot is suggesting now, calculate the total quantity of beverage sold, considering only the products marked as priority, which is true, because that's basically what is behind. We can see it over here. We say the sum of sales, the sum of quantity of products, where the priority flag is true. So I want to keep it. Copilot,
it will fill it in.
It will fill it in.
Very, very cool to share view. So let's leave the laptop behind for now. Okay, cool to see. Personally, I think it's very intriguing to see that using natural language, that is enough for a Copilot to understand what you actually want to achieve. Because I think, especially for new users, it's fairly easy for them to explain what they want in their own business language, but they might be unable to write it in code.
Yes, indeed. It's also important to mention, it is only working well, of course, if your data model is optimized. I mean, also with good namings. Of course, Copilot only knows if I'm asking Copilot for the product's quantity, if the namings are also well applied in the data model.
Yeah, that's a very, very good tip, of course. Moving on, creating reports in Power BI is very important, of course. Usually also for a lot of business users, it's the only interaction they have with Power BI, it's using those reports. So it's a crucial part of the whole process. How can Copilot streamline that process?
Yeah, that's a really cool feature in my opinion, because now you can really ask to Copilot, hey Copilot, create me a report including A, B, and C. It takes some time again to think about it, and then it will just throw out a report.
All right, so it will suggest a report, or it will actually build it?
It will build it. Okay. But you can of course ask a suggestion to Copilot. Hey Copilot, if you see my data, what can be interesting to have included in the report? Yeah. But of course you can also, like we have seen with the DAX query, we can also just write it or ask it. If you know what you need on your report, you can also just ask it to Copilot.
Cool. Very curious. Let's go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so we're back in our report, and what we can already see, these are already some pages that I've generated before with Copilot. But of course, we're going to create a new report, or let's say a new page. And what you can see, so Copilot is asking me, okay, I can suggest some content for this report. Let's say we're going to do that. So I'm going to ask for a suggestion. So Copilot is looking into my data. And Copilot can already see, okay, this could be really interesting insights that I can give you on a report. So let's say, okay, I'm happy with the account activity analysis. I'm going to create a page for this. And, oh, wow, this is surprisingly fast. But maybe because also the result was already cached before. So what you can see, Copilot is returning me some insights. And just with one, or let's say 2 clicks, and I have my report. So this is amazing. But of course, we need to be honest as well. In my private opinion, it's not really the best content. Like for instance, at the bottom left visual is not really explaining anything.
Mean anything.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, we need to be still, in my opinion, and that's already a bit of the conclusion that I'm telling you now of this webinar. We still need to be critical on the visuals that will be returned. But from the other side, it's especially from a business user, this is really giving you like a good first draft. Yeah, and I would recommend to use this first draft to work it more out in the coloring or the like, for instance, this visual, it is on a date level, but maybe it is more reasonable if you aggregate it to a month level. So these are the tweakings that you can still do.
But definitely for new users of the tool that never created the report before, it's a huge enhancement.
Yes, definitely. This is a really huge enhancement, and it is also returning a report. Just to be honest, I'm happy with the format of this report. If some of you are into UX design, this is a readable report, in my opinion. You can see the really boxing of the visuals.
Okay, and what's possible? What's even more possible?
Yeah, of course. So when I've now asked to Copilot a suggestion, but I can also create. I'm going to ask Copilot myself create a page that shows my top products per month. Let's say for the previous year.
You just had a small little typo there.
If I type
or 4, that might be very
yeah, of
different
course,
outcome.
Yeah. Good point, Nico. So, but I also want to include an overview per product category. So I'm explicitly asking to Copilot to also include this one. So, okay, so I have my results already. Just for your information, so it might take a bit longer than what we see now, but we have prepared this demo, so these results are already cached. Just
if you create it for the first time, it might take a minute or two.
Yes. But because we've already prepared this demo, Copilot knows, and that's actually also interesting to see and know now. Copilot already knows what we're looking for, and it's probably already cached the results. That's why it is fast.
This is you've just typed in a sentence
Yep.
that's very obvious for a lot of business people that might not, that might be able to explain what they want to see, but are unable to actually create it themselves. So that's a very useful.
This is really convenient for people who are really looking for insights in the data, but maybe not that savvy with building reports or data modeling and these kind of things. So this is already helping you. And once again, the content of the report, it's maybe not telling you a lot. Also, in the data we only have, in the data set that we are using, we only have data for the year 2023. So if we would have had more data over the years, then we would see like a nice line chart. And like we would see, this is on a monthly level. But once again, I'm happy with the results. It is giving me a starting point to continue on my report. That's really how I would consider Copilot today, how I would use Copilot today to give you a first draft and then to continue building your report. But I want to show you one more thing, which is to be honest, my favorite feature in Copilot. Let's say I'm not happy with this visual. I'm just going to delete it. And I'm going to add another visual. So I'm going to my ribbon on the right. I'm going to I'm going to select, a narrative visual over here. And Copilot, or let's say Power BI, gives me the choice to or use Copilot or custom. Of course, you want to use Copilot for this demo. So I'm going to select. And you can basically also ask Copilot, okay, show me in this visual this particular description that Copilot will generate for you. But for this example, I'm going to make it easy. I'm just going to ask Copilot, summarize the data that is visible on the report. So it is now generating the visual.
So it's interpreting the data and then trying to come up with a narrative.
Yes, correct. It's interpreting the data that is visible on the report on that particular moment. And this is really nice because it is in a natural language. This is explaining you see, what is visible on the report. Like in this example, Copilot is telling me the total quantity of beverages is 700 million. All from partner 9. Yeah, of course, this is obvious because I have only one partner. But you can also see what soda contributes the most significantly, followed by milk. That's obvious because we are the milk and soda company, so these are our top products. But
so you say that it interprets what's visual. So if you tweak the report, or if you filter, what happens then?
Yeah, and by the way, you can also see where it is getting its insights from. Like if I select the one behind this text, you can see it is getting its insights from this visual. But indeed, like what you're suggesting, imagine that I want to see, or I want to basically know what exactly happened in August. So let's say I select this. You see this visual is changing. I have a refresh button. Let's say refresh me the text of this visual. And this is really cool because now Copilot is basically generating some insights from what happened in August. So in August, we can see the total quantity of the beverages sold was 50 million. And again, soda has the largest contribution. So this is really cool, in my opinion.
Very cool to see. Very nice Very nice demo. Maybe let's go back to the regular view here, so we can have a short little chat about this and the final exercise.
Yeah. Right. So now we're in the Power BI online service, as you can see. And as a business user, or let's say as a report user, typically I consume my reports from a published app. And this is what we see. We are now inside an app of the Milk and Soda Factory, where we have the report that I've showed you before. And now as just a report user, I want to know, okay, what is inside my report? So on the top, we have the Copilot button. I have this familiar screen again. And I'm just going to make myself easy. I'm going to ask, okay, create a bullet list of insights. So Copilot, you see, is again working on it. Now it takes a bit longer than in my previous example. But so basically what it will return is a list of insights. Again, what we can see on the report.
Yeah, that's very important because reports can be interpreted in different ways. So
yes,
if you have an option like this.
Indeed. And same story again as a previous example, it is returning. It seems a bit familiar as a narrative visual. You can see, okay, this is what we can see on the report. It's based on this visual. And yeah, you can even go deeper. I mean, you can even be more precise in your question. You can also ask which product is selling the best in July and August, for instance.
Look at that.
Voila. So we can see that Soda obviously has the highest number of transaction accounts. So this is really cool. Also, really nice addition. So you can, for instance, again, like we have explained with the previous example, you can select, let's say, milk. And you can now ask for an executive summary. So I'm going to on the top. So I'm going to ask for an executive summary of milk in this situation. So now Copilot will narrate you, okay, what exactly is going on for milk. So this is really cool. So depending on the selection of your report, you can create very easily and fast conclusions.
Yes, yes. And as we mentioned before, this is in preview. So normally in the future, this will even get better and better. But as a first, example, this is pretty nice to see.
Yeah, and this is really cool. I mean, it's giving you a good, a comprehensive explanation. And if you just look a bit deeper, like it is introducing the numbers, and then it is telling you, okay, despite of these fluctuations, milk played a pivotal role in the overall business performance. And so it is really comparing the results, this product with another product, and this is really what we're looking
for. So even though you selected milk, it's taking into account the other product categories or products that are in the dataset.
Yes, indeed. And like also on the bottom, you can also see milk was, you see, it is looking on the report, June 30, it has a significant volume.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting also just for report consumer, not only for developers, but also for consumers.
Nice. Looking at the time, any final exercise you want to showcase, or are we going to the conclusion?
I think we're good to go to the conclusion, Nico.
All right, perfect. All right, so ready for the conclusion, Jasper?
Yes.
Like we mentioned, it's in preview. It's available.
Yeah.
But of course, this might influence, your licensing. Your data still has to be correct. So if you're interested in knowing what this would mean for your licensing, If you want to have an assessment of your company being ready for Copilot in Power BI, we're free to help you there. So drop us an email at info@datashift.eu. But going back to the demo, what's your personal opinion about Copilot here?
I think, first of all, Copilot, yeah, let's be honest, it's really cool. So it can give you a lot of insights by just doing, let's say, human stuff.
Yeah.
You can just ask Copilot in a human way, okay, give me some insights from this or from that. So I think this is really cool. It has a lot of potential. From the other side, I also think that Copilot, it's not replacing everything yet, or yet to be defined, of course. But I think Copilot is giving you really good first attempt now, especially when talking about report creation. On, okay, this content can be really useful for your business just by writing natural language. And that can be really useful for being a first draft to continue working and make it a more precise and better product.
But it's not perfect yet.
It's not perfect yet, but yeah, technology is evolving fast. So let's see what will happen in the future. And also, your data model should be in a good format. So what do I mean? Your relationships, your tables, and especially your namings. I think it's important to have that in a good format, because otherwise, if you only keep technical namings, then yeah, if you use your natural language, it will be more complicated for Copilot to.
So there are some prerequisites in making sure that Copilot can run smoothly, efficiently, and that your user doesn't get frustrated by Copilot.
Especially when we talk about self-service BI, it is important that your user is not getting frustrated.
Indeed. But the data that we used has been masked or tweaked, but it's an actual data set, so it is possible.
It is possible, yeah.
So yeah, very cool to see. Let's go to the Q&A part of this section. I'm very curious to see how many questions we have. And again, if you want to have a discussion that we are having with your company, feel free to drop us an email, info@datashift.eu. But let's go ahead and see what questions we have. So, Jasper, we do have some questions here. Mark Bonner, I recognize that name. Is it possible to enable Copilot only for specific workspaces and/or specific users?
Yes, that should be possible. If I think about specific users, if not mistaken, if you go to the admin portal of Power BI, first of all, you can enable or disable Copilot for Power BI. And over there, you can also specify it whether you want to enable it for the whole organization or just a few groups in Azure Active Directory.
So it is possible.
It is possible. And also in the workspace, it is important. A user can only, at least when talking about Power BI Desktop, a user can only use Copilot in Power BI Desktop when he or she is at least, I think, contributor of the workspace.
Okay. All right.
So yes, it's possible.
Next up, Michelle, is it possible to generate a DAX measure with Copilot in Power BI?
Okay, yeah, cool question. Because indeed, that's something which was also first time I was looking into Copilot for Power BI. That was also something that I was wondering about. Okay, is it even possible? But the answer is yes. But what do I mean with this? You can generate measures with Copilot. If you go to the quick measures, there is a feature in Power BI named quick measures that you can basically generate suggested measures. But there is one disclaimer for this feature now. You need to enable in the admin portal of Power BI a particular setting, which is basically giving consent to Microsoft that your data will be processed in the United States.
Okay.
So especially for
might be a difficulty there.
It might be difficult and a bit sensitive for us, but probably that will be shipped sooner or later as well to Europe. because Microsoft has many data centers over here. So it's also still in preview. So that's also probably one of the reasons.
Sure. Next up, Veerle also had a question. Will the narrative you showcased in the demo, will it be updated if the data changes as well?
Yeah, definitely. That will happen because Copilot will always consider the full semantic model under the report. So yeah, that will change.
If you change your filters or the actual data is updated, so
and
into account.
And that's also something that we have seen during the demo. When I was selecting at a certain moment August, also the narrative was updating. So it doesn't matter if your data in the semantic model is changing as well. It will also be updated, the narrative.
Yeah, all right.
I think there is one more.
A final question again from Mike. If many users use Copilot at the same time, how does this impact the premium capacity and can it be overloaded?
That's a good question, because probably this question comes also from probably current experiences in the premium capacity, because indeed nowadays if you use premium capacity, you need to make sure you need to manage it yourself. You need to make sure that there are not that you don't overload your capacity with too many processes at the same time. I have to say, answer on this question, probably yes. And I'm saying probably because I also need to check this first with Microsoft as well, if this will be impacted to be sure 100%. But if I'm just already thinking one step further on how premium capacity is acting nowadays with just only data refreshes and report consumption, then probably the answer will be yes, there will be an impact. But let me come back to that, Mark. We can reach out to you after this webinar.
All right. So I think we can close it. Oh no, we have one more.
There is one more question.
Jonas, I think for now this mainly highlights the importance of proper data modeling, naming conventions, and data governance quality in general.
Yes, indeed. That's a good conclusion, Jonas, because indeed that's I think Copilot will work the best if your data model is also well prepared. If you have like a good dimensional model with good naming conventions, then of course Copilot will also be able to understand some definitions like a beverage is a beverage. It's something natural. That's something that we know. So good point, Jonas. Indeed.
I see our editor-chief is also writing down a last question. Is the dialogue with Copilot saved?
Saved in the meaning as you most likely when you close your window and you go back. What I've noticed till now, no. I cannot remember that is happening. What is happening, of course, if at the moment that you're generating your questions and you keep your session opened, then yes, then it will still be remain. But at this moment, what I've noticed, it will disappear from the moment that you close your session.
But no definitive answer there. Maybe just keep that one open for now. That was the last question. So thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you very much for interacting with us. Jasper, thanks to you for coming on. I also would like to thank a few other colleagues that helped us prepare this webinar. Jean-Nou, Eva, Bastiaan, who's standing right there as well. Thanks all. If you would like to have more information, again, feel free to contact us at info@datashift.eu. Let's
and one more
thing.
Thank you to Nico for hosting this session. And also, if you are looking for a job in Power BI, don't hesitate to go to our job website. We are still looking for new people, so don't hesitate.
If you want to get trained by this guy, you know what to do. Thanks all, and see you in the next webinar. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.